So, 1-1, this is the way we like it, isn't it?
I do.
I like it as well. Alright, so mouse controls NEEK, the purple wearing Protoss on Frost in the top left.
And his opponent from ESC Icybox. It's on the bottom right-hand corner, GraVe. So another PvP, and these players have already had two little bit wonky matchups, I would say, back and forth. And last game, GraVe started up with the proxy 1 gate, which turned out great for him actually. We were both, I feel like, doubting it a little bit, and we thought that it didn't do that much damage, right? But it ended up being very valuable scouting and pressuring for his build later on.
Yeah, but on this map, I think we should expect a little bit of a longer game. This is Frost after all, it's cross positions, which, it's a funny thing, because this distance might kind of, in the players' heads, you look at the map, you find out the spawn positions, and you're like, oh, we're diagonally spawned, so it's good for macro games, right? Well, wrong, because this is PvP, and any Protoss versus anything matchup does not factor the distance into account, especially not PvP in the middle stages of the game, because you are using gateway units. So whenever you can warp in, wherever you can warp in, you can attack there. Distance does not matter, so even though you might say we could or we should see a little bit of a longer game, not necessarily has to be the case.
True, and we are seeing these two players deviate their builds a little bit. GraVe having their cybernetics core slightly later, but he also has less gas, so I'm wondering what he did differently in his build, or just threw it down later. But yeah, this map, a lot can happen. What would you like to see from NEEK?
From NEEK, like I said, a little bit more scouting, and just covering his bases. Just making sure that he doesn't die to stupid mistakes like not scouting a dark shrine or a proxy, or not knowing where your opponent's army is, or what tech he's going for. Stuff like that. I would really like to see NEEK play it safe and just make sure that he has all his bases covered.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. I mean, he is scouting with one probe right now, but I think that's more the map than his style. The fact that he's scouting right now.
We could see
Twilight Council.
Yeah, it's a Twilight Council from NEEK, but we could see a proxy Stargate here. We could, from GraVe.
I don't know though. He's adding 2 gateways. You could add a Stargate, but he's adding a lot of sentries. So I'm thinking he's not gonna go for that, because he's actually got an extra sentry queued up after this one. So I'm thinking it might be a 3-gate expand from the way he's building with the units.
It might be, but it's a little bit off to me.
We're gonna have DTs again from NEEK. So that's gonna be annoying for GraVe to deal with. But I don't feel like he has a lot of ways to scout. He does have a proxy pylon in a good position, close to the base of NEEK.
Oh, don't worry, he'll scout that out with the hallucination. That's what the sentry's for. That's why he built it so early. I mean, he's at 80 energy right now, I think. So he'll wait for half a minute more, and then he'll send out the hallucinated Phoenix to scout it out.
That's gonna be too late, right?
No, it's going to be just fine, and he's getting the robo facility down anyways. I mean, if he doesn't see the DT shrine, then he knows he can build immortals. If he sees the DT shrine, then he has to build an observer. He'll probably build one anyways, but the robo production time is so precious, you just don't want to build one observer and then have it on a wrong spot on the map, for example in your opponent's base, when the DTs come in and you're building immortals. So
yeah, true. I mean, the big thing though is the robotics facility. He is actually sending 2 zealots over across the map, and that could do a little bit of damage. The Mothership Core is there, but it's gonna make sure to kill a few probes, even if he decides to vote an overcharge. So it's gonna be annoying that you go to probes already moved off the line. On the other side of the map, we do have 3 Dark Templars, not 1, not 2, but 3. But they're just gonna be hugging the wall there, and we already see the Archon on the way.
This is a brave move. This is a brave move, morphing the Archon. I mean, I don't know if I like this.
Well, it doesn't really matter though, because there is an observer, so the Archon isn't gonna make that much of a difference. I feel like if he would have pushed the Archon through the force field,
yeah, maybe he was trying to do that just to cancel the force field, right? But
that would have been cool. But right now it's gonna be very hard. He's making 2 Archons. He's gonna make a push with this. And Archons are okay against Immortals, but I don't feel like he has enough to do anything with this. And it's gonna be scouted by the Observer already. Everything going
Time Warp is going to be huge here, and it does land directly on the map. That's going to buy so much time for GraVe, and give him the maneuverability that he really needs to defend this. Because, you know, make no mistake, Archons, they're okay units, but if they have good supports, they can actually wreck Stalkers and Immortals in these small numbers.
Yeah, of course they do. They do a good amount of damage. They have splash damage as well, and they have very much so high health. So they're good units. They're good tanking units, and when supported properly, they can really do a lot of damage. But right now, in this situation, though, I have to give it to GraVe as an edge, because he's gonna have the Immortal tech earlier on. He's gonna have his expansion just a little bit earlier on, and he should be a little bit ahead of him.
Yeah, he should. NEEK's also getting the charge, so I mean, maybe he's going for a 2 base with Archons and charge lots. This might work, but if GraVe gets a whiff of this, he'll just build a partial wall at the front, and then it's all over, because his Colossus count will just keep on rising. I mean, this has been played so many times during the Wings of Liberty, over and over and over on certain maps. I mean, Entomb Valley, Ohana, and every time this happened and you went for Colossi and your opponent, after a failed DT opening, transitioned into Charged Archon and tries to break you, all you had to do was just build a wall.
Yep.
That was it.
Yeah, and just the Colossus are so good against the Zealots and the Archons, because they hit all of them at once, and the wall is gonna... The last little bit of advantage is that they fight close edge, but then they can't because there's no movement, and it's gonna get broken down. But if you check the supply, you already see that GraVe is ahead, and he is already making Colossus, and he's even just thinking about the upgrades already. He's scouting out, making another Illusion Phoenix. He's happy about the position he's in. And NEEK, I think he's gonna go for a little bit of an all-winish attack, but I don't know how it's gonna work. There are 4 Stalkers, a little bit on the off position, getting chased down.
Yeah, they are, and they're probably gonna get killed off, or maybe some of them.
One of them goes down, but he does know that there's charge now, which is good info.
Yep, that's very good info. I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing the wall at the natural come down right around this time. I mean, if he doesn't do it, he might very well lose this. I mean, if you take a look at his army composition, he's got 2 Immortals. The majority of this army are sentries. That's the weakest thing. And there are the 2 additional gateways. He's going to try to force his opponent to funnel his units through that choke. Here we go. Colossus starting to well away. Emergency warp in, both defending and blocking the advancing units at the same time. And oh my goodness, NEEK having to pull back, losing his Zealot line. Without the Zealots, the Archons are no good.
Nope, and he also lost an Archon, and he was already behind in this game, and that was not a good trade for him by any means necessary. So this is gonna put him back even more, and he doesn't have the tech right now. He is making his first few Immortals, so he wants to transition, but it's gonna be a very long road for him to get back into this game. I feel like he needs to take some sort of risk, maybe just throw down a 3rd base, put your hands together and hope that it doesn't get taken out, because I feel like GraVe is playing a very defensive game, because he's feeling ahead, right? So he has to do something.
There are two things to this. A, he's feeling defensive, and B, he cannot really move out on the map, not with the charge loss roaming around. I mean, you make one misstep and you can lose a Colossus. He needs to build his army size gradually, and he does have the advantage going for him that he's ahead in upgrades. He's starting his +2 right now, his opponent only just now started +1, so GraVe, if he takes this slowly, takes a third base, and then attacks with +2 with Archons of his own, with Charge, with Immortals, with Colossi. I don't think NEEK will be able to stand up to that.
No, it's gonna be super hard, and I feel like GraVe knows this, but he just wants. He has to be careful, you know. It's 1-1 in the series right now, right? So whoever wins this takes it. So he wants to make sure that he wins.
Yeah, of course. Also, if we take a look at the army supply right now, 32 for NEEK, 54 for GraVe, economies being equal, just NEEK getting his third base right now. GraVe, I think he actually saw that Nexus. Yeah, he has. The Observer since has been taken out, I believe, but he knows about that third base. And now, here's the question: do we see a gateway explosion on GraVe's side, or do we see a third Nexus? It looks like it's going to be gateways. So he's adding on 2 more, bringing himself up to 8. He's going for the attack. His +2 is just about to finish. Thermal lances are just about done. He's going to murder this guy.
Yep, I'm afraid so. I mean, every Dutch person watching this is already grabbing their box of tissues at this position for NEEK right now. Looks like the guy from Poland. GraVe is in an excellent spot with the 3 Colossus, and he even has every advantage he can think of. +2 is about to finish against just +1. And NEEK is just trying to make as many units as possible. He did go for the strategy of making a Nexus and putting his hands together, but a little bit too late. Right now he's moving on the map. I think that's what he has to do. He has to start picking up some of these units. Does get a good initial engagement, but both players are grouping up.
Yeah, and this was not a position GraVe wanted to engage in. You can't fight versus charge loss and this many Archons out in the open. No, he has to fight through a choke. He tries to lure away his opponent with a possible drop into the main base. There's a War Prism with 4 Zealots and a DT on the way. Excuse me, 2 Zealots and 2 DTs. So he's going to try to... He's basically trying to win on 2 fronts. If he can't kill the third, he will ravage the economy. Here we go. Major engagement in the middle of the map. Colossi are exposed. Archons closing from all sides, forcing a recall. Main base attack so far not deflected. More Warpins coming in. Huge damage being done by GraVe. 27 probes going down. GraVe taking a third base. Under attack, but he's probably going to be able to defend that.
Yep.
Ooh, and the Nexus goes down as well.
This is such a well played out attack from GraVe, and I mean there is going to be a counter attack from NEEK, but when you're GraVe, you know that this is going because he didn't defend his main base, so the army is going towards your base. He actually gets a pretty good position on the first Colossus here. Could snipe it.
Oh, and he probably will. Another recall. Very good decision there from GraVe. That was not a fight he wanted to take. He was in a very, very, very bad situation positioning-wise.
Yeah, but I like that he recalled to the main actually, because now you get the high ground advantage with the Colossus. You can see how this battle is going to go once he's in a good position. It's going to go very one-sided, and NEEK is losing everything in his main bases. So when he gets pushed back here, that should be a game.
Oh, why didn't you leave that 1 DT there to kill off the Nexus, I wonder, GraVe? He's going after the economy most likely. Yeah.
It's like he's chasing the probes with the War Prism, but there's no detection, no units. But the supply is so much favoring GraVe right now.
Yeah, it is. Third base has finally been defended. NEEK's army in tatters. NEEK GG. And, well, it's 2-0 in favor of GraVe. Goodbye, NEEK. Nice knowing you. Better luck next time, I guess.